Hi folks, Jeanne Denney here from School of Unusual Life Learning YouTube channel. I think this is our fourth episode in which I'm going to try for a few minutes to talk about two words, aliveness and vitality. We usually have some pretty powerfully positive feelings around those two words. But if you're like a lot of people I know, sometimes the idea of what they are gets a little murky and is penetrated with things from our culture, teachings from our culture that sometimes aren't all that accurate. So I'd like to start by asking you, what do you think of when you think of aliveness and vitality? If you're like many people, you might think of a 28-year-old in great condition running up a mountain with a smile on their faces, or someone in love, or perhaps somebody playing tennis, looking great. The problem is that if we hold that kind of image about what aliveness is and what vitality is, by the time we're ill, by the time we're 75, we may have some pretty confused feelings about what's happening to us. So one of the things that we do in School of Unusual Life Learning is look closely at that, both where those ideas came from, which we'll talk about next time, I hope, and how to really observe life without the filters of just assigning one period of life to vitality. This is a very materialistic view. So I thought I would bring in some of my plants to make a few points and ask you a few questions. So here they are. Here is one of my plants from Christmas, what do you call these? Poinsettia. It's looking pretty darn good, wouldn't you say? Now here's a sister poinsettia plant that managed not to get watered while I was away in Europe and went through some distress. Now, is it dying? Is it dead? Will it come back? Where is the energy in this plant and where is it in this one? I'd be willing to say something's going on in the roots of this plant to try to reorganize, wouldn't you? But is it dead? I don't think so. Not nearly as dead as these flowers from Valentine's Day that were cut at their base and are now looking like this. Here's another thing. When I brought in some of the iris bulbs, probably in about December, they had already been through a pretty hard freeze. I decided just to put them in some dirt to see what would happen and bring them inside. Let me show you what happened. Pretty great, huh? Those iris bulbs didn't look very alive when I brought them in, but they apparently had a lot of vitality inside of them, despite what they look like. And under the right conditions, expanded so that we can fully see it. Here's another one. This one in pretty much full, waxy, wonderful, vital condition that we could all recognize, right? And yet, we have to remember that these leaves and these flowers will eventually contract slowly, and hopefully others will take their place. But that is part of the process of vitality. Now let me show you the deadest thing so far in this little show and tell. Don't they look great? But they're completely dead. And in fact, these guys are a lot more alive than this will ever be. How to make sense of that? I'll put them on my compost, probably in a day or two. We're just opening up the ideas today. How we know something's alive, like this, or like this, or even like my amaryllis in the pot who hasn't bloomed yet, like this. I'll be back next week to talk a little bit about our culture and what we've learned from that about aliveness and deadness. Thanks a lot, and hope you stay tuned.